It's very exciting to have a chance to talk to Robbert. And last night I was researching IHG. I noticed that in the Kaohsiung area, IHG actually has the number 1 and number 2 most highly ranked hotel by travelers in the Kaohsiung area. So I think that's actually a really impressive feat. And I also know that you're from the Netherlands and you have led hotels in like Vietnam, Korea, and Doha. When you're leading a hotel like this with such sky-high expectations, what are the major challenges that you're facing when you're managing and leading a hotel with a culturally diverse team to tackle this kind of challenge?
Great question. Not a small one to start with.
Yeah.
There's always a red line through all of those assignments.
Okay.
You work with people from different cultures, backgrounds, and so on. But ultimately, our goal is always to deliver a great guest experience that translates in happy guests and guests that want to come back. And so we bring a return to the owners that build the hotels. But what I've seen over the last 2 decades is that technology innovation is taking a bit more of a forefront and is more engaged now because our users. 20 years ago, our guests were not on their phones. Now everybody's on their phones.
Right.
The whole guest experience has changed as such. It's been exciting to work in the industry and to really still focus on guest experience, which is all about human engagement. A warm welcome, a great check-in experience, great breakfast, clean room is the same in every different territory or country that I've worked. And everywhere I go, the biggest challenge is probably myself. I put the bar high. I like to bring something new, and I like to bring my experience from the past and show that you're able to go different route or stand out maybe more than we thought we would. To bring that change, in many places like, no, we cannot do that. We work this way, this is how it works. Yeah. And after a few years when you leave, that way of working actually changed. Mm-hmm. So you have an impact, you have an influence over the process.
Okay.
And the same has been here in Taiwan. When we opened in Kaohsiung, there might have been a bit of skepticism about why does InterContinental go to Kaohsiung first and not Taipei.
Right.
But we thought it was the right place to start, and it has been proven right. Built a fantastic hotel and a new way of working and the way that we embrace technology, innovation and ESG.
And could you take us to the back of the house operations? How does it operate kind of differently from the traditional hotels that might have said, this is the old way that we've done? How do you do things differently in the back office of these hotels?
I think traditionally hospitality has been a little slower to adapt technology than some of the other industries around, like banking or the online retail industries where we see a lot more changes. So traditionally hotels still had a lot of administration and paperwork in the back of house workflows. From a guest perspective, there's more and more digitalization happening over the last years with guests booking through their apps or website applications. But the back of house kind of always stayed behind, and that's something that we wanted to change in Kaohsiung. First of all, we believe that in order to make good decisions for our people, for our guests and for our owners, we need to have the right data. And when data is all scattered on printed papers, we can't find what we're looking for. So we went out to find systems like Ragic that helped us to build that digital backbone. And that helped us to make all our processes centralized, digitalized. Because in the back of the house of a hotel, we need to buy items, we get invoices, and there's a lot of training going on too. All of that needs our workflows that normally were manual and we automate now, or we digitalize for a big part of that. You have processes that involve internal communication between departments, where traditionally somebody is running around with a piece of paper to get those signatures. Now it's all digital, time-stamped, and much, much faster. So we definitely have an optimization there. So it's been proven a very good strategy at that time. Long and behold, AI arrived a few years later. And what do you need for AI? Data, and you need to know where the data is, how to access and how to use the data. And we have almost everything in Ragic throughout the past couple of years. All our memorandums, all our flows, all our forms, all our training records, all our performance records, all of that we've managed as a workflow through Ragic, which helps us now to take the next steps in technology.
Exactly, yeah. To make any good use of AI, the whole point is how much data you have on the database where AI can actually access, and you can control whether the AI can access it. That's actually kind of the biggest point in our experience, that key deciding factor of if a company can successfully take advantage of these AI tools.
And to make sure that it's super safe.
Yes.
The data is really locked properly on the storage, cloud storage with you guys. And there's a lot of authorization levels that you have to go through before you can access certain data to make sure we comply with all data privacy regulations, that we only store data that we really need, that we also get rid of data that we don't need anymore, and that we only use it for certain processes and have those security and safety features 100% locked off.
And we as a company, we put a lot of resource on data security, because when we're managing business data for so many companies, it's kind of a question that every company just keeps on repeating, ask us, no matter it's data recovery or if you have done some security scans, it's just also always on the top of our list. Also, I know that you are a very technology and hands-on manager, that you even know how to build these kind of automations yourself. Do you think this is like a personal hobby, or do you think it's like a very important thing for an executive to really understand these technology in detail in order to successfully for the organization to adopt it?
For me, it's not really a hobby.
Okay.
We in the business leaders, we need to understand where our industries are going and are moving over the next 5, 10, 15 years. So for me, it's part of the strategy. For me to understand, to build out strategies, and to build out also how are we going to help our employees to give a better guest experience. Because at the end of the day, again, the guest experience is always the red wire. So I prefer that our team members have more time or better resources to spend time with the guest and to make a real great impact, human impact, rather than sitting in an office and doing a task that could be automated or where AI could assist. So I'm really looking at technology and innovation as a support for the human part in our business. We've implemented IELO AVA in all our guest rooms. It's a voice command device.
Okay.
It controls your blinds, your lights, your air conditioning, your TV. So this is also a technology piece that some people could argue, is this luxury 5-star? The way we offer it to our guests is to say, this is an alternative. You don't have to use it. If you like to use it, go ahead. There's a lot of functionality inside. So we cater to a larger amount of customers, different audiences. And the same counts for our internal customers, which are our employees. That's where I see where technology like Ragic is giving a great helping hand for the younger generation that are a bit more tech savvy. They want to move faster and they don't want to sit maybe the whole day in an office comparing 2 different reports. That's where technology can come in to take over that task. So they can maybe look at a more exciting part of the business and add value in a different way.
Because Ragic is a really diverse tool that can pretty much do all kinds of different things. It depends on your requirement. But how does IHG, like in each hotels, and how do you decide what kind of features that you want to build on Ragic, and how do you come up with all these specs?
That actually changed over time.
Right, okay.
I think the strength of the InterContinental Kaohsiung and Ragic is that it's part of our culture. We started 3 years ago with basic workflows that we kind of from top down implemented, like a recruitment workflow where we collect CVs, we store, put the notes from interviews inside of the system so we can track that, and once we hire a person, he gets an automatic notification on which trainings the person has to do. And like that, we developed over time more workflows which were more generated around where we see efficiencies in the business. Then, interestingly, it started to change. Our people, because they work with Ragic every day themselves, they start to come up with workflows. An example is minibars. Whenever we put items in minibar, we need to make sure we remove the item if it's not consumed and it's close to expiry date. We don't have a system for that. The team came up with, this is our business case, we need a solution for that.
Okay.
How could that work? So we designed a process where They import information into Ragic with their own cell phone once they put the items inside. And Ragic produces a report every day for them to know which rooms they need to take what out of the minibar. So as a result, we don't have any more spoilage. We have no items that go spoiled into minibar. So also no risk and safety risk for guests, for example. But this is something where the team came up with.
That's a bottom-up
approach. So we started top-down, then the bottom-up flow in, and now we're probably half-half, which is a great place to be. And it's great to see that the team is really embracing the technology, and that generates then more impact, because ultimately the best person that knows how to do the job is the person themselves.
Exactly, yes.
So they know what problems they run into, and they most likely also know what kind of solution they need. But in the past, they didn't know how to use technology in the solution process.
Right.
And by using Ragic and by creating the culture, we gave them the opportunity to think about the technology solution and bring it up and for us to implement.
Okay.
And then the snowball runs.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of the ideal situation that we're looking for when you're running a software like Ragic. Now, the Gartner has a term for this. It's called citizen developers. So it's where like everyone is like someone from the IT department, and they can come up with IT solutions that can solve their everyday problems. Are there any like obstacles that you ran into when you're trying to do this? Because right now what you're describing is an ideal dream situation for managers, that people understands and love this tool, knows how to solve problems with this. And how do you get there?
I think the biggest challenge for us was not the junior people, not the senior people, but the middle management in between.
Okay.
Because traditionally there's the ways of working as a pyramid, top down, enables the middle management to have certain power and control over the process. When we started to change, there was more transparency. For example, how long does it take to get an approval for a certain thing? In the past, when people were running around with paper, you couldn't see if it takes a day longer or earlier. Now with the timestamps, we can see exactly when it's approved and how it's approved and so on. The change management had most to do with the middle management.
Okay.
So I think the way we went around it is by working top down and picking out the processes that we knew are going to make the biggest impact in their lives in a positive way. Okay. Resolve their problems first.
Okay.
When they figure out their problems are going to get easier or resolved, then they're more open-minded to inspire others to use the system. Another challenge that we've had over the years is people joining makes them struggle because they've never experienced a hotel which is like this. So almost everybody we bring in new first has a shock when we open Ragic and we show all the workflows that we've had. And they're looking on their desk, where's my paper? Yeah, we don't have.
Okay.
It's definitely management I would meet. And I don't really talk about the job. They've been interviewed for the role and they can do the role. But we're talking more about the culture that we have, focus points, and how important technology innovation is in our hotel and how we're using it to kind of warn or prepare people for a scenario that we work different.
I would imagine the onboarding flow for new employees will be significantly different with these kind of technology tools. I would imagine you will have new employees very regularly, but you can't train them over and over again, like with every new employee when they come. How do you have a standard operating procedure of like getting them up to speed with all these tools?
It's actually on departmental level.
Okay.
So once they join in their department, we connect them to a buddy to explain how processes work, how procedures work, how the SOPs work in that department, and how we connect with others. And once they connect to their email address, they see the Ragic notifications coming in. Then they start to know. And
do you have any other stories that you might be able to share of how adopting Ragic might have helped some of the hotel operations?
Through adaptation of automation with Ragic and some of the other tools that we now tap into too, we managed over the 3 years to reduce as well the amount of people that we're having in certain functions. Our finance department moved from 15 people to 11. Our reservations and telephone operator department went from 7 to 5, to 3 to 4 million in terms of yearly payroll savings through using technology like Ragic and some others. Another benefit for us is the data. Having everything available at the same place allows us to make better decisions for the business and helps us to understand really what a guest is looking for or what the team really needs. Ragic was the starting point for the culture to arrive. And with Ragic developing and coming with new APIs and new connectivities, that makes the system even more relevant. Helps the team to think of new workflows that they were not able to do in the past.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, I believe that when Ragic makes a difference in an organization, we can always see a cultural shift for the organization, and that's always something that we really like to hear, because when everybody starts thinking about taking advantage of technology and digital tools to improve their operations, it just gets the organization on the track of continuously improving the operations. Yeah. It's just something that can just keep going.
No, absolutely. And the savings I was just talking about, these are just clear right in front of our eyes. Yeah. But there's an incredible amount of saving in terms of optimization of the workflow. Yeah. And hospitality industry has not always been the most soft industry. It's known for long hours, lots of administration, lots of stress and pressure. Mm-hmm. And through these processes, we see that goes down. Our people make less overtime. Our finance department is out on 6 o'clock, all out. Mm-hmm. Again, when we started with more people, they were always making overtime. So we're managing through the technology to have clear processes, transparent processes, trackable processes, mm-hmm. making a real impact into the work-life balance of the people that we work with. Mm-hmm. And through that, we think we can be a better place to work. We hope this year to win again Asia's best place to work for hotel business. Really work on creating that environment where technology, as much as for the guest, is a supplement that helps people to make choices and to work better and to go happier home at the end of the day too.
That's kind of matches our values. We just think that you should really get organizations and people to work smarter, not just harder. So Ragic is a result of us trying to make all these IT data management work smarter, just not harder, just find a better way to do all these. Looking forward, what kind of plans do you have for improving on what you already have?
Step one for us would be to scale what we have. Okay. So we have a great example in Kaohsiung, mm-hmm. where with all those workflows and the great partnership that we have with Ragic, and we have a lot of new hotels coming in different scales and different sizes, different brands. Mm-hmm. So with our growth pattern going from 14 hotels now to about 30 hotels in 2027, which is around the corner. Okay. We see a great opportunity to scale what we've built together. Mm-hmm. So to get a lot more hotels on Ragic, to get the workflow streamlined and maybe at some stage more real-time data rather than reporting that we're doing right now. Okay. So that might be the next step, to get real-time data interfaces that action maybe with an AI tool in the middle or as a connector. And that's something where I think we're going to go in the future. I also expect that the world will further change when it comes to guest bookings. AI is going to play a big role into that part, making maybe more use of an AI tool to say, help me plan my trip to Taipei, okay. And then come up with 10 recommendations for hotels, etc., mm-hmm. rather than maybe going to Google or booking.com to search for hotels. So. Mm-hmm. We need to be ready to change that too. Where I would love to go is more on the commercial side, where we've now been more on the operational and functional side of the business, the back of house workflows and so on, to see how can we be more proactive with technology, rather where we're now more reactive with it. So that's the vision where I would like to go with IHG in Taiwan.
When you're talking about a more real-time data, what kind of interactions are you hoping for in the future? Like what kind of real-time interactions with your data?
Financial data, I think is important. And now we get every morning a pickup report of where you stand, how much did you pick up and so on. Mm-hmm. I think that could be maybe more of a live dashboard that's kind of running. Okay. You could look at operational data where we can see exactly which room is occupied at what time and mm-hmm. how fast did it take us to clean the room and to get to the next one, for example. So potentially an AI tool can help the scheduling process of cleaning rooms. Okay. Or the guest is waiting in the lobby, so let's see how we can switch that around so we can fit the guest need a bit faster. Okay. Where now it's a lot more reactive with line messages, calls to housekeeper to move rooms and so on. So there's still a lot of manual process, I think, involved there. And I think that's where technology innovations can start to help us a bit more.
Okay.
For breakfast, for example. Breakfast is always a rush hour in the hotel. So how can we create real-life data connections for guests to know, oh, it's very busy now. If I go down, I might need to wait.
That's very useful.
Let me wait for 10 minutes, and that might be, how can we create something more user-friendly for guests to make choices in their guest journey while they're in the hotel?
Okay.
I think there's a lot of user cases that we can step by step look at and see how we can adapt that.
Understood. Yeah, we love hearing about these use cases. These use cases are the most important things when we're coming up with a design or a system spec or deciding how it should work. Of course, we're going to discuss a lot more about real-time data and see how Ragic can help.
It is great to have partners in different fields and to connect the partners as well, to use innovation in their respective fields to connect and build something better and greater and bigger impact. So we can all elevate to the next level.
Yeah, so it's always great talking to our customers, and it's great talking to you, Robbert.
Same here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.